Hi children, hopefully you are doing well. Be home and be safe. As situations are very danger, please try to take good food and to keep up your nutritious status of your body and health, and wishing you all a good day. So we are talking about the social studies, class 10, and today's our topic is production and employment. It is the third chapter in 10th class. The topic is production and employment. So in this chapter, we are going to discuss specially and basically the first one is sectors of economy. In Indian sectors, especially we have the three sectors: agriculture, industrial and service sector. And second point is GDP. GDP refers to gross domestic product. And third one is organizing and unorganizing sectors, the benefits of, or maybe especially when we fall under the organized or when we fall under unorganized, what are the benefits we enjoy, we come to know especially in this chapter. And last one is more and better employment, because as the population is high, we need the more employment opportunities for the people. So henceforth, I would request all of you, please be attentive to learn more about the present. Our chapter is called as a production and employment. Production and employment. It is the third chapter in 10th class. I repeat once again, production and employment. So in this, the first concept we are going to see is sectors of economy. In India, we have basically three sectors, or these are also called as a occupational structures. Occupational structure, occupational sectors. The first one is agriculture, second one is industrial, third one is service sector. Agriculture sector, it is also called as a primary sector, because basically it includes the agriculture and related activities such as like fishing, forestry, mining, where the nature has dominated role in the process of production. In the first sector, it is called primary sector. Second one is a manufacturing sector. It is also called industrial sector. In this industrial sector, manufacturing process and other industries, all these comes under the where production process of goods are produced by people using of the tools and machines in this sector is called as a industrial sector. Third one is called as a service sector. In this especially, the activities do not directly produce any goods but provides some kind of service to the people as per the requirement of production and even for the people is called a service sector. Example, we could see a table is given to us, different kinds of occupations and classification of sectors. Tailor, he falls under the service sector. Basket weaver, he falls under the secondary sector. Flower cultivator, he falls under the primary sector. Milk vendor, service sector. Fisherman, primary sector. Priest, service sector. Courier, service sector. Workers in the match factory, secondary sector. Money lender, service sector. Gardener, primary sector. Porter, primary sector. Beekeeper, primary sector. Ostendant, service sector. Call center employee, service sector. So after going through here, we also have a table referring about the 1972 when we compare with the 2009 and 10. The average of here where the people percentage depending upon the different sectors. Let us see 1972, the people falling are depending upon agriculture sector 74%, industrial sector 11%, service sector 15%. But whereas 2009 and 10 when you look into here, agriculture 53%, industry 22%, service sector 25%. That means here there is a drastic change where people from the agriculture they have shifted towards the remaining sectors, example like industry and service sector, that we can able to understand through this table. And we can able to observe the following pictures. Example, picture 1 is telling about the where people are trying to cultivate. So it falls under the primary sector. Second one is also mining work is done. So it is industrial sector. Third one, a person speaking on the phone, it comes under the service sector. And fourth one we could see where people are just trying to tie up the bolts, and where is also very well highly employed person, he falls under the industrial sector. we can able to observe very clearly. Gross domestic product, it is also called GDP. GDP refers to gross domestic product. So GDP refers to the a complete income of all the families earned in a important overall indicator is also called as GDP. Example, for the country as a whole, we use the total value of goods and services which are produced in the country as an indicator of income for the country, and the technical term that we denote is called as the value is GDP or gross domestic product. In other words, we can say GDP refers to the total value of goods and services that produced within a concerned year. We can able to calculate that can be a total value of goods and services can be considered as a GDP. The GDP of the two different years, 1972 to 1973 or 2009 and 10, how a drastic change has come, we can able to observe in the picture given to us. The drastic change. In the first part we could see 1972 and 73 of three sectors. Agriculture is shown in blue color, industry in yellow color, service in a green color. And following second one, 2009 and 10, we also can able to observe the drastic change that has taken place. How the people shifted from the one sector to other sector. Basically and mainly, people shifted from the primary sector to secondary and service. How do we estimate the GDP? I come again. How do we estimate the GDP? GDP generally, or sometimes even people also get the various kinds of question, because as the production is a very large number of goods and services, or how do we decide to find out, or how much goods and services can we able to produce, it is all become a question mark to the people. And we also could see many thousands of goods and services they are produced. You might think thus it is impossible task. Not only would a big task or enormous task, you might also wonder how can we add up all the cars or computers or mobile phones or services or baskets or pots. So is it any kind of sense, or does it make or won't make any sense? We feel sometimes, but it is also the value of goods and services should be used rather than the adding up the actual number. We can able to get the total value that is called as a GDP. So we are going to see with the first example. First example, if you can see, if the 10,000 kilograms of the paddy are sold at the rate of 25 rupees per kg, the total value of the paddy will be sold for the 2,50,000 rupees, will get it. Or the value of the 5,000 coconuts for a rate of the 10 rupees, we are going to get the 50,000 rupees. So in this way, we are going to get the total value of the goods and services. So let us see one more, and we also can able to understand that where we can able to observe that the total value of the paddy produced by a person, the ratio of the 2,500, the rice mill takes out and rice sells almost 80 kilograms of rice to the hostler and 40 for a kg. First one. And second is 20 kilograms of the husk with the rate of the 20 rupees. The total value of goods are produced here. We are going to get with the calculation of the 80 into 40 plus 20 into 20. So 80 into 40, we are going to get the 3,200. 20 into 20, we are going to get the 400. Total 3,600, we are going to get the total amount of the good. So in this way, we can able to calculate the GDP. Example, let us see very clearly. The total value of goods are sold at each stage. Stage 1, sale of paddy to the by farmer to the rice mill owner. It is of the 2,500. Stage 2, sale of a rice and husk to a rice mill owner to the hostler. It is of the 3,600. Stage 3, sale of the idli and dosa. So by adding up all other things, we are going to get the 5,000 rupees. In this way, we are going to add the total value of the good to the one by one, and we are going to get the total value of goods. The good becomes a final. It is not used further. It can be produced goods to be sold off. It is called as a final good. In case any good which is produced, we are further going to be used on, it is also called as a intermediary good. Intermediary good refers to a good which can be used for the purpose is called intermediary good. But whereas after production of the good, if we are not going to use any further purpose, that can be called as a final good. GDP records the market value of all final goods and services produced, but there are some items or maybe many items that are not sold, purchased in the market. Some things we cannot able to buy. Example like one important example is the work that is done home by a mother in the family. Example like cooking, cleaning, organizing, bringing up the children, or maybe tending to the plants, cattle. So all these kinds of works cannot be measured by a mother, or maybe a woman's work that is done in the family. So in instance, these do not involve any monetary transactions. Therefore, they remain outside the GDP measure. Changes in the importance of the sectors, the value of goods and services produced and employment of the people. I repeat once again, change in the importance of sectors. So as we know very clearly, we have three sectors: agriculture sector, industrial sector, service sector. So the method of farming changed of agriculture sector began to prosper. It produced much more food than the before. As there is a green revolution has taken place, it brought a lot of drastic change in the agriculture. Many people could now take up the other activities as essential food requirements were also met by the other producers. There were also increased number of craft persons, traders, buying and selling activities that connected to the agriculture activities. Most of the goods produced over the farm of agriculture related sector, most people were also employed in this sector. Henceforth, agriculture sector is also called as a primary sector. Second one is a industrial sector. The factories came up with a starting of expanding. Those people who are earlier worked in the farms now began to work in the factories in a large number, and people began to use many more goods. There was a mass of production by the factories at much lower rates, and these goods reached the markets to all over the world. So it is a great work of the industrial sector. Hence, over the time, the shift took place. This means that the importance of the sector had changed. The industrial sector has become a very dominant sector, an important sector of connected to the agriculture as well as for the people and their employment, even to the production. We can able to observe, but production has declined in the agriculture but increased in the industrial sector. Last one is the service sector. Most of the working people, they have shifted from the industrial sector as well as agriculture sector towards the service sector, because that service sector not manufacturing of the goods, but it is completely just providing of the services that we can able to observe in the pie chart given to us in the 1972 and 73 to 2009 and 10. Service sector also includes the different kinds of activities, example like a community, social and personal different kinds of services, example like a public administration, defense, education, health, veterinary and media, library. So museums, cultural activities, all these come under the service sector, and even the finance, insurance, real estate, trade, hotels, transportation, communication, all these comes under the service sector. As they come under the service sector, we also could see some people, especially those who are the self-employees of the milk vendors or maybe basket weaver, basket carrying of the different kinds of vegetables, even construction laborers, all this also comes under the service sector. Employment and working life in India. So as we are trying to know or evaluate about the GDP, we can able to know a better way with the help of the distribution of workers in India, especially 2009 and 10. So let us see very clearly according to sector wise: agriculture sector, industrial sector, service sector. Agriculture sector, especially rural urban areas, male and female, and overall we are going to see agriculture sector, rural 68%, urban 8%, male 47, female 69. Overall, people falling under the agriculture sector are 53%. Industrial sector, rural 17%, urban 34%. Male 34 percentage, female 16 percentage. Overall, people depending upon industrial sector are 22 percentage. Service sector, rural area 15 percentage, urban area 58 percentage. That means there is a drastic variation here. And male 19 percentage, female 15 percentage. Overall, 25% of people are depending upon the service sector. We also can able to observe that there is a change that people shifting from the industrial goods went up almost 9 times. There is a drastic change, but the production has come out only 3 times. So in this way, we can able to observe that people shifting from the agriculture to industry, even agriculture and industry to service sector, the people shifting and finding out the working life in the different sectors, we can able to understand and we can able to know it better way. Let us try to understand with a small example of the Gayatri. A Gayatri is a small farmer owing about the 2 hectares of land, or it is also unirrigated land. Especially they depend upon the rain and for the growing of the crops like a jowar and red gram. We can able to observe in the family there are 5 members. The 5 members completely depend upon that work. But here we can see that everyone is working in the family, but none of them remain idle. The actual fact is that their labor effort gets divided and each one is doing some work, but no one is fully employed. There is a situation of the underemployment, and it is also called as a disguised unemployment. That means a 3 persons work shared by the 5 people is called as it is also called as a disguised unemployment, and it is also called as a underemployment. Organized and unorganized sectors employment in India. So we are going to see the present picture that Narasimha and Rajeshwari. Narasimha falls under the organized sector. He maintains his time of 9 a.m. to 5, and he also just goes very close by 5 kilometers, and salary will be paid regularly, and he also enjoys the many other things. But whereas the Rajeshwari, she works from the 7 to 7, and when she works, she will be paid, and there is no paid leave for her. And she is also just a construction laborer, falls under the unorganized sector. So we are trying to know very clearly about that. Though the 92% of the workers in India fall under the unorganized sector, and there is only 8% of people falling under the organized sector. But when you look it very clearly, the production, though the 92% of people depend upon unorganized sector, they could able to produce only 50% of production, and 8% of people in an organized sector, they also could able to produce the 50% of production. Let us know very clearly about the organized sector. It covers the enterprise place of work where the terms of the employments are regular, and they have to follow the rules of regulations by the government, and they also get the minimum wages, and they will be enjoying the security of employment, and they are expected to work only fixed number of hours, and they do have to be paid overtime by the employer. They get paid leave and holidays and provident fund, and they also get the medical benefits and under the laws of the employer, and they also enjoy the facilities, example like drinking water, safe working environment, and the workers get the pension as well. People all who work under government or companies, they all enjoy the organizing facilities or maybe organizing sector facilities. Second one is unorganized sector. It is specially characterized by the small and scattered units which have remained largely outside control of the government. Outside the control refers to the private institutes which have the low paid, not regular, there is no provision for the overtime, no paid leave, no holidays, a leave due to the sickness will not be given, employment is not secure, and people can be also asked to leave without any reason anytime. So these kind of the problems generally people faced by the unorganized sector. Contribution of the organized and unorganized sectors. So we can already, as it is explained to you clearly, organized sector, unorganized sector. Organized sector employment 8%, but GDP is 50%. Unorganized sector 92% of people depending upon GDP is 50%. Here through this table, we can able to understand here is that organized sector especially, they are using the mechanism or maybe machine made power along with the manpower. But whereas unorganized sector, it is completely only the manpower. Henceforth, the GDP remains both same. That is a 50% only. How to create the more and better conditions of an employment, or in order to overcome the people's problems of unorganized sector, we need to create the different or maybe generate the different kinds of employment opportunities. As we have seen about the Gayatri, example of a small landholder, we also can see that Gayatri need is not only confined with water alone, but to cultivate the land, she also needs the seeds, fertilizers, agricultural equipment, or even the pump sets to draw the water. Being a poor farmer, she cannot able to afford the many of these, so she have to borrow the money from the money lender, or she also can able to take from the bank. But as from the money lender, it is a high rate of interest. Henceforth, it is a good to take the local bank to give her some kind of the credit facility, so that she can able to cultivate a very better way. And we also could see how can we able to solve these kind of problems. We can able to solve by the identify and promote the location of industries and services in the semi-rural areas. If we can able to start, there will be increase of the number of employment opportunities. Second one is setting of the flour mills to produce and process of the to sell in the cities some kind of flour that can be also create some kind of employment. Third one is opening of the cold storages could also give the opportunity for the farmers to store their products like chilies, onions, tomatoes to get when there is a good price, and it leads to the one side income to the farmers, at the same time employment for the people those who are free. Third one, the villages which are close to the forest, they also can start the honey collection centers, so it can provide some kind of employment. Fifth one is maybe starting with the vegetables and agriculture products, example like tomato, chilies, mangoes, rice, red grams, fruits. So selling of all these things outside the markets also create some kind of employment. So today we not only have to generate a new employment opportunities, but also we need to train the workers to work very effectively with the machines, because today the complete world became as a mechanism, mechanized with the man work. Man work connected with the machine work can become very successful. Henceforth, every trainee should be trained as a manpower along with the machinery power. We should invest many industries, both rural, semi-rural, urban areas, that we are able to produce many more goods and services that lead to the development of the people and creates many number of employment opportunities. So after going and trying to understand the complete lesson called production and employment, I would request all of you, please try to understand the variation between the organized sector and unorganized sector, and basically what is a GDP. So please note, all of you, as a homework, difference between the organized sector and unorganized sector. Please write in a book and prepare the differences, so you will understand in a better way. And furthermore doubts in this regarding the chapter, please you can contact me through my mobile number or WhatsApp number. And finally I would say, please go through the lesson once again, try to understand it, and you can able to know better and better. Let us meet in the next class.